Welcome to the T-Pac Arcade. Today's game is Deace for the Sega Genesis. In this 1992 shoot-'em-up from Wolf Team in Renovation, the Deace starship is humanity's last hope against the evil supercomputer GCS-WT. A supercomputer built by humanity itself, by the way, but then it went rogue and now we reap what we sow. Oof, this sounds too relevant. Anyway, Deace plays just like you'd expect an early 90s 16-bit space shooter should. Choose your difficulty setting, choose your ship speed, and blast off through 6 sci-fi levels of robot battling fun. The standard ship just has a piddly forward cannon, but you're almost always within reach of a 3-pronged blaster upgrade. And the cool thing about this upgrade is that it lets you angle your shots. Moving forward widens the display, moving backward concentrates it dead ahead, up and down angle just the top or bottom shot, and holding the fire button locks everything in place. You can even collect different cannon types, like lasers and missiles, to replace whichever prong of your ship made contact with that upgrade, meaning you can have a few different flavors of destruction going on all at the same time, like lasers lasering in the top shelf and missiles missiling in the bottom shelf. It's great. Another neat feature of these upper and lower cannons is that they can sometimes ricochet you off stage hazards instead of having your ship immediately blow up on impact. But that's not to say there aren't plenty of threats to your survival here. Stage 1 is the upper atmosphere of the human colony's planet Silius, where you dodge space shrapnel, take out a flamethrower windmill, and enter a cave to fight a big spindly-legged robot spider. Creepy. Stage 2 is a weapon factory with more spindly-legged enemies, or rather, spindly-legged legs. It took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out that only the clawed ends of these things are dangerous, and you can pass right through the joints unharmed. In any case, this stage also features a spacecraft trash compactor and a 2-part boss fight against a podwalker thing that jumps to fire missiles, and a giant biomechanical sewing machine spewing out... are those souls? Is the supercomputer stealing our souls too? Oof. Stage 3 is an artificial sun, where a boss spacecraft confronts you, only to be impaled suddenly by a massive fireworm. Needless to say, you still have to fight the fireworm, but I appreciate the fake out here nonetheless. Stage 4 is an enemy space cruiser that you pass by backwards before making your way through its gauntlet of turrets. At the end, you find an angry missile hatch going nom 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 nom, which actually isn't nearly as dangerous as the dual laser guns guarding it. Also, we get another fake out here, because the real Stage 4 boss is this nasty eyeball brain that tries to crush you between its nasty disembodied meat jaws. I love it, but also, ugh. Stage 5 is a claustrophobic tunnel run through a derelict space station, which is super tricky because these torpedo ships are always coming up from behind, and laser gates are always forcing you further and further upscreen. The final encounter here is an isometrically oriented beam cannon on rails, and the whole thing looks more like abstract art than a video game boss fight, but I'm cool with that. Finally, Stage 6 takes you on a journey from the moon to the evil supercomputer. Most of the moon enemies are just rocket launcher spacecraft and ground turrets, but there are some interesting one-offs, like this green force field that inexplicably envelops you to slow down your ship for a while, and a spindly-legged crab jellyfish thing. Been a while since we've seen another spindly-legged enemy. Where you been for the last few levels? And there are a whole bunch of sub-bosses to plow through on your way to the supercomputer. The first one is actually the hardest fight of the game. It's a pretty standard big mean spaceship, but what makes it unique is all the different attacks it throws at you. Like yellow circle shots that weave around the playfield faster than you can hope to escape, the densest bullet bombs you ever did see, self-destructing space mines that litter the screen, a zigzagging beam of death, and finally, an endless barrage of blue orbs. The next boss is a pretty unsubstantial shoot straight to win scenario, but then there's a submerged machine thing that ultimately breaks free of its hangar to whomp around the playfield while you try to dodge its spike drones, which follow you around trying to inject you with the big sleep. Finally, the evil supercomputer itself presents 2 of Deace's primary gimmicks. First, the fake out, because the stationary computer wall isn't actually its final form. And second, the return of the spindly legs, because this creepy insect-appendaged humanoid crab abomination is its final form. Lovely. If it weren't already obvious, these free-rotating spindly-legged enemies are the hallmark of Deace's whole aesthetic. But honestly, all the graphics here are top-notch. There are so many unique mechanical designs here, and they're all animated with such stretchy, swingy, wild abandon that the real danger of the enemies isn't their projectiles so much as their spastic movements. And that's kinda neat. The sound design is equally unique, albeit awkward at times. You've got some good chiptunes layered underneath standard robot fart Genesis explosion and damage noises, but then you've got some unusual sound effect decisions, like how your missile cannons sound like clip-clopping horse gallops. I don't know. In terms of difficulty, Deace is certainly up there. I appreciate that it offers immediate respawns and unlimited continues, but I still played through with save states. I usually like to avoid cheating at games that don't limit your credits, but I really needed the extra checkpoints here to deal with the multi-phase bosses and stuff. My favorite thing about Soul Deace is how it seems to favor variety over length. Stages don't overstay their welcome, and you never go very long without encountering some new spindly-legged robo-mutant. But if I could change one thing here, I'd consider differentiating the cannon upgrades a bit more. As is, they just feel like different coats of paint on what's effectively the same weapon. Not that that's a bad thing, it just doesn't incentivize you to pick one upgrade over another for different scenarios. Overall, Soul Deace is a challenging but highly individual shoot-'em-up. It can be hard to find notable personality among the swaths of look-alike 16-bit space shooters from the early 90s, but this one certainly stands out, if only for its menagerie of spindly-legged robo-mutants.